Hey, how's it going, guys? Dan Kitajima here with another episode of How to Grow Your Insurance Agency. Today, I want to talk to you guys about a very important subject, really the difference maker between becoming a successful insurance agent and an unsuccessful one. It's super important, and it's the topic of making excuses or taking accountability. Because excuses are so dangerous. Some of them may be true, but I want to talk about how to combat having these excuses and what the other way of going about, these challenges are. So some of the examples I could think of when it comes to excuses are, the customer's too cheap, my company's rates too high, my employees aren't hardworking enough, can't find good employees, my company's doesn't understand, they don't help me, the economy, the government, my DM. These are some excuses that, I hear agents make all the time. And some of these could make a factor, truthfully make a factor in your agency's operation, but we just don't want to go that direction. That's kind of what I believe in. I just don't like complaining. I just don't make excuses. And rather, I want to talk to you guys about the concept of taking accountability and why that helps. So when it comes to taking accountability, let's go through these examples that I gave. The way to look at it is that everything is your fault. Okay, that's how I look at it. Everything is my fault. So again, if the customer is too cheap, you get off the phone and you feel that way. No, that was my fault. I didn't explain the coverages well enough. I didn't hammer in the value of coverage. Maybe there was a couple discounts I missed. Maybe I didn't ask the right questions. Maybe I didn't build rapport with them. There's so many things that you could have done better in a sales call that rather than making it the customer's fault, you want to make it your fault. Your company's rate is too high. Kind of similar thing, there. I think that's a very common one that people make excuses. It's a little bit easier to make excuses because, that's not your fault. Who wants to hear it's your fault? But I'll go in why that's so important and how that's going to help you. My employees aren't motivated enough. They're always late. They call out. Well, I look at it that as that's my fault too, because I'm not motivating them enough. Well, first of all, I'm the one who hired them. So maybe I made the wrong hire. So you could go that way too. But hey, maybe I'm not bringing enough value to them. I'm not motivating them enough. I'm not training them well enough. I'm not helping them believe in themselves well enough. So you could go that route too and figure out what you're doing wrong. What else is there? Yeah, the company. I think it's kind of funny when people kind of really go against or talk negatively or complain about the company you represent. Well, you're the one who chose to be that agent. So let's take some responsibility there. If you're complaining about it, then what are you going to do about it? You're the one who decided to become your company's agent. So let's take some accountability. And the reason you want to take accountability is because when you do that, then you're going to figure out ways to get better. So hey, I'm going to get better at sales because I'm not explaining this well. If I'm not getting enough sales, and hey, I'm going to get better at marketing. If the employees aren't more motivated, you're going to figure out, hey, let me train them better, or let me buy more leads, or let me figure out something, or let me work on this. Once you take accountability, you're going to figure out solution. But when you put blame on something else, even though that helps your ego, nothing happens. You're just giving away control. And the funny thing is we're entrepreneurs. So one of the reasons that we came into this business is because we want to have control of our own futures. And when you are making excuses instead of taking accountability, then you're actually giving that power away. You're giving that to the customers or your staff or the company, where if you blame it on something else, then you actually have no control over that. So to get back to control, then you want to really look into the mirror and say, hey, it's my fault. The reason what's going on with my agency is my fault. And it's true because, why else is your agency in that situation? It's because of the decisions you made. So it's sometimes a tough conversation. I feel like agency owners that have humility do well in this business because they understand that they don't know anything and they understand that they're not good at it. And the ones that are insecure, the ones that really have a hard time with taking accountability because they already don't like themselves. So it's really hard for them to say that, hey, I suck at this or I'm not good at this. They don't want to tell themselves that because they don't, just again, it's goes back to, I guess, your ego. While a confident person will be able to tell themselves that because they're able to tell themselves that and say, hey, I know that I can get better. So take accountability, because that's really where growth happens. And when you make excuses, nothing happens. You're not getting better. You sometimes you're literally thinking that it's not your fault, and same things are going to keep on happening. There's no growth involved there, because hey, it's not my fault. It's easier to say that in the short term, but in the long term, you're really hurting yourself by putting these excuses. Whereas if you say, hey, it is my fault, then you're going to think of ways to get better. So I really think this is a big subject, because I just hear a lot of complaining out there, and I just want to help you guys understand that how taking accountability is going to help your agency. And I also want to go to the flip side and talk about accountability with their staff, or how to hold their staff accountable, because I get this question a lot, where people say, hey, how do you hold your staff accountable? What type of quotas do you have? And it's an interesting way I look at it is because when I look at my staff, I actually go a total opposite direction. I don't have any standards or any quotas at all, besides having good attitude and having good work ethic. So I always tell them activity and attitude is the only thing I could expect. As long as those two things are met, then I'm okay with everything. Because rather than me saying, hey, you got to hit these numbers, you got to hit this, you got to hit these numbers, or you're going to get in trouble, or if you're late, you're going to get in trouble. I'd rather sit down with them and talk about what their goals are. What do you want to write? How much you want to make, and other things too, like, what's your goals? Buy a house, get married, have kids, take a vacation, buy a car, whatever their goal is. I'd rather use that as their motivation than negative consequences coming from me, because we really can't expect our staff members to be as motivated as us. Everyone's going to have different goals, financial goals, lifestyle goals, freedom goals. So we want to understand what they want and try to help them achieve what they want, instead of us expecting them to hit results that they don't even have interest in reaching. So sometimes I just feel like agency owners could get a lot of trouble with employee retention when they're expecting way too much from their employees. First of all, we got to think about how much we're compensating them. Their compensation plan is obviously completely different than yours, and your name's on the wall. So why would they be as motivated as you? Our expectations should be lowered. Once I start doing that, I become a lot nicer. And when I become a lot nicer as a manager, then they respond better. And they are more loyal, and they're more thankful, and they value the job a little bit more, because, we all have had managers, and I think we could all agree that, the nicer ones we prefer to have. So it's kind of interesting where, I expect a lot from myself. Again, accountability, I hold myself accountable, but when it comes to others, I don't expect that much. And I actually end up becoming happier that way. And I found out that I'm actually become a better manager that way. When I lower my expectation from them, it really increase my expectation for myself. That way you have more control. And then you figure out how to help out your agency grow. Because again, making excuses, put it on other people's responsibility. Customers aren't going to change. Your staff isn't going to change. Your company's rates aren't going to change. It's up to you to work with what you have and make improvements within your agency. And the only way to do that is to look in your mirror, have hard conversation with yourself, and understand and take the responsibility and say, hey, whatever challenges you guys are having, it's because you caused it. You may not like telling yourself that. You may not like telling yourself that you're not good at it, but I'm still trying to figure everything out in year 14. And I always tell myself that, hey, I'm not good. I got to get better, so whatever challenges you're having, you could always look back and see what you did wrong. And then that's how you really improve from experience and understanding what you did wrong, and what you're doing wrong right now. So it's a hard conversation, but I want to tell you guys what has helped me, really made a difference. I make no excuses now. I take accountability, and I find solutions to grow my agency. And that's what I want you guys to do too. So until next time, let's get it. Thanks.